Hi, so I'm going to go over some things with the Sophos Firewall Manager. Firewall Manager, you can manage the XG appliances, rules, and such, right? Firewalls, objects, tunnels, you name it. So first thing is, where do you get it? So you log into your MySophos, www.sophos.com/MySophos under Network Protection, and then download installers. And then you scroll through down to the bottom, near the bottom where it says Firewall Manager. If you happen to have one of our actual hardware for the Firewall Manager, you can download this. Otherwise, you can get the virtual installers for your hypervisor, or I normally just use the software installer for the Intel hardware. The second thing you're going to need is a license. So you can get a free license that'll manage up to 5 firewalls. That's good to get experience, or if you have a really small environment. Otherwise, if you need a full license, you're going to have to purchase one. But to get the free one to get started, you can just go to www.sophos.com/capital SFM, right? So SFM, just like that. It'll bring you to the free trial page. Fill that out. You'll get an email with a serial number you can use to register it. I'm not going to go through the registration process. I'll do another video for that. The purpose of this is just to kind of get people started. So here I've got my Firewall Manager. If I go take a look at the dashboard, it's 1601 release candidate 1. This gives you an idea of the devices and such, overall health of your environment. So here I've got a firewall that's managed by it. So it's in here. You can see one. You can click on this. It'll show you. It's my XG demo. It's at this IP address, management and such. To get a device to be managed in a firewall manager, you go under administration, and then you go under central management, and you put in the IP address of your firewall manager, check off device management, how you want to manage it. I'm going to do it over HTTPS on port 443. And then I have the radio button selected that the central manager will push changes down, right? So, okay. So let's take a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a quick template and show you how to lay rules down in the firewall settings. I think that's the most common use case you'll find. So in the firewall manager, you've got, home shows you more or less the dashboard, device configuration, templates, and system monitor. So we're going to create a template. So we can jump into templates right here and actually create one. I have a default null template, but under System Monitor, Manage Devices, you've got the Template tab. Okay, I'll add a template. I'll call this for instance, let's say we have a bunch of store rules. Okay, it's a new template. We're not going to import or clone. What this actually is creating a namespace. It's creating a namespace called store rules, and in that namespace, when I go to templates, it's the default template is this one I called null, but if I go select template and I say my store rules, it'll put me under a namespace called store rules where I can go ahead and now configure things, right? By default, it's got the one rule in it. It's imported. So I'm going to turn that off, okay? And then I'm going to add a new rule. It's just a mock rule, for instance. Call this allow credit cards. Allow credit card transaction. So let's say that the source zone is LAN, and I'll just use the any object. We could create specific objects, but the any object this is a zone-based firewall, so any traffic arriving on the ports that are designated in the LAN zone would match this rule. Destination zone, let's say this has a tunnel back to the corporate office, and let's say that so it's a VPN, that would be the destination zone because of a tunnel, and let's say we've got some machines that process credit cards, a range of them, right? Back office CC systems, right? And it's 172.16.220.15 through 172.16.220.20. All right, so it's 5 machines. If we know the specific services, let's say, the only thing that should go there is HTTP. HTTPS, right? We're going to allow HTTPS. In this case, I'm not going to do match known users and such and get more complicated firewall rules. I'm going to skip over that type of stuff. I'm not going to masquerade it. There's no need in a tunnel scenario. It should be routed. And I want to apply a general policy here, general policy on the intrusion prevention, right? So go ahead. I'll go ahead and save this rule. Right, so it's allow credit card transactions. So I can build a whole bunch of rule sets here. So if you look over here on my firewall, I got nothing. I only have that one rule. Okay, it's already off. You know what? I'm going to turn it on just for demonstration purposes. This is on my firewall, the actual firewall that's being managed by the central manager. Going back to the central manager, I'll now that I've got my my templates defined, I'll go select template. Okay. Bring me back here. So it shows me I've got two rules now. So if I go provision the template, deselect everything. I don't want to push everything down. I just want to push the firewall rule down. Then come down to confirm. I'm going to, says set schedule. I could schedule this or I could push it out immediately. I'm going to push it out immediately to a device. So I'm going to go ahead and add my device. I could create a device group, but I'm just going to put this device in there. Okay, and it says the template has been pushed. If I go to the events, it'll show me the transactions, right? So event viewer on the left hand, it says that the template store rules is in progress 1. So click the search. So success 1, and here's all the transactions that were just conducted on that machine. So if I come back here, refresh this screen, and just like my template has, I've got it's off, and my rule now is on my XG is on. It's laid down that rule, so that's pretty cool. So that way, I could say I had a common rule set. I could group that in a common. I could group that systems into this template. So when I go to, if I go back to System Monitor, Manage Devices, create a device group. Call it, click add and say, call this my store locations. And then I have to put a filter criteria. I could say none, but I could say, how about this? I'll just do country for now because that device is registered in the United States. So any device registered in the United States. Your other filter options are, you know, things like the device name starts with something, right? You could do things like that. But I'm just going to create a group called based off of country. And then when I go back to the template, which brings me back to my store rules, and I provision the template, deselect all, enable the firewall rules only, confirm who do I want to push it to. Instead of doing a device, I could do a device group. So if I had a lot of XGs that were in the United States, I could use the device group called store locations, and it would push that template out to all the devices that are part of that filter criteria. Okay, I hope you found this video useful.